Hey everyone, and welcome to another GTA 6 video here on the channel. Today I want to go over something that I don't think many people are talking about regarding GTA 6. Everyone talks about how great GTA 6 looks in terms of its graphics, but I want to talk about what I think is even more important than how the game looks, how the game plays, and more specifically, the gunplay of GTA 6. Firing weapons is a very core part of the gameplay loop in Grand Theft Auto games, so this is something that needs to be done just right. So what we're going to do today is first go over the key aspects that makes a game's gunplay feel good, and then review some previous Rockstar titles with those aspects in mind, showing some examples, and then near the end I'll give my thoughts on how I think GTA 6's gunplay should play out. Now for the core aspects of gunplay, and this isn't some official list by the way, these are just things that I take notice of whenever I play a shooting game, and things that I feel are important when it comes to having a good gunplay system. Number one is the gun mechanics, the recoil, the bloom, the reticle sway if there is any. Does it feel clunky or does it feel smooth to shoot a gun in the game and interact with the mechanics? And is there a skill factor when learning to use different guns the game has to offer? The second thing is hit stun or hit feedback. If you land a kill shot to the leg on someone, does that leg give out on them and they fall on their face? Or if you land a headshot, does their head recoil back and they fall hard on their back dead? Or maybe if the game has gore in it, when you land a headshot, does their head just explode? Or can you shoot limbs off the target if you target certain places? Do more powerful guns like a 50 cal sniper or a shotgun, for instance, feel like they're actually more powerful when you shoot someone? Do they get launched back further than they would with like a pistol? Number three, the movement. Movement is a massive part of gunplay in games. Any game that is praised for having really good gunplay will have good movement that accompanies the gunplay. I'm not saying you need to have some dedicated movement mechanics like diving or slide canceling and jumping mid-fight. You don't need any of that. What I'm saying is that the movement needs to feel fluid, it needs to feel responsive, and it needs to be fun to interact with during gunfights. You want to feel like you have complete control over the player character. If that's not the case, then the game can feel bad in return. And the fourth and final thing, sound design. This probably is not as important as the other three here because it doesn't affect how the game feels per se, but it does help with the immersion element. You want it to sound like you're shooting a gun and not like you're using some plastic toy or a sewing machine. Punchy gun sounds are satisfying to hear in games. So with those four aspects in mind, let's analyze some previous Rockstar games to determine the pros and cons of each game's gunplay. We'll start with the current GTA game, GTA 5 and GTA Online. For the mechanics, GTA 5 has some of the simplest gunplay imaginable when it comes to the mechanics here. Recoil does not exist pretty much, it's really just non-existent. You never really have to account for recoil in GTA 5 for any of the guns, you just aim and shoot, and the recoil just recovers by the time you fire the second shot anyways. GTA 5 also has bloom, but it's for the most part a very minor amount of bloom that you, again, never really have to account for unless you're firing like 60 bullets in a row in an automatic weapon. Every gun is a laser beam in this game, and most of the guns feel the exact same to use, especially the assault rifles. There's not really a gigantic skill gap when it comes to the gunplay in this game. For the hit stun and feedback, there is some specific hit feedback. If you shoot an enemy in the leg, they will fall over, but it's definitely a downgrade from GTA 4, which we'll get into. And using a shotgun in this game just does not really feel that satisfying at all compared to almost every other game we will look at today. Shooting someone with a shotgun in GTA 5 really doesn't feel that much different from shooting someone with any other gun. GTA 5's movement is decent. You can strafe mid-fight in third person by holding the sprint button. The first person strafe is way too ridiculous in my opinion and kind of breaks the game with how stupid it looks and how fast it is. With that being said though, even though the movement is improved from GTA 4, it still feels kind of clunky a lot of the time in third person. It's not as bad as GTA 4's movement, but it's definitely not as good as it should be. And wrapping it up with the sound design, GTA 5's gun sounds, quite frankly, suck. Maybe this is a little harsh, but I would almost argue GTA 5 has some of the worst gun sounds since the 3D GTA games. They're just so forgettable and boring. What else is there to say really? They're just not that good. Let's go back to 2008 now with GTA 4, and this is actually the reason I got the idea to make this video, because I was playing GTA 4 on stream a few days ago, and it made me realize that GTA 4's gunplay is just vastly superior and much more fun than GTA 5's, and so I wanted to analyze the reason why I felt that way. GTA 4's gun mechanics are kind of similar to GTA 5's in that the guns don't really have recoil to them, just bloom. However, the bloom in GTA 4 actually matters a lot to where in order to hit accurate shots at long ranges, you are almost required to stand still, crouch, and burst fire so that your gun accuracy stays within a reasonably tight amount of bloom. Which is a nice skill gap the game has, unlike GTA 5 where it doesn't really matter if you're standing, behind cover, or strafing. The accuracy remains mostly the same, and most guns just laser beam in that game. And the guns actually do damage at longer ranges in GTA 4. GTA 5, the assault rifles kill in like 15 shots past their optimal range, whereas GTA 4, you can 3-tap to the head with an assault rifle from way in the distance, like close to max range of the gun. And even the pistols do very good damage in this game in comparison. The hit feedback and hit stun is also miles better than GTA 5. Landing a headshot in GTA 4 is super satisfying because of the amazing ragdoll physics that GTA 4 has, that they for some reason got rid of in GTA 5. When you blast someone with a shotgun at close range, they fall down or back really hard depending on where you shoot them. The game doesn't have gore, but it honestly doesn't need it with how good it already feels to use weapons in this game. Now, GTA 4's movement is substantially worse than GTA 5's. The combat roll is slow and sluggish to use where you feel locked into place when doing it, that it's really just not worth doing it at all because it just leaves you vulnerable for 2 seconds. The combat roll in GTA 5 is much cleaner in comparison and just feels better to use. The character when in movement also feels a lot less fluid and natural than it does in GTA 5. The animations are oftentimes slower to the detriment of the player, like recovering from a jump for instance, or as I mentioned already, the combat roll. But overall, just something about the movement just feels stiff in GTA 4. Especially if you're used to some other games that have really good responsiveness with the movement. If you come back to play GTA 4, you'll realize that it is pretty clunky, and especially things like the camera movement speed is pretty slow. And for the last category of sound, I actually think GTA 4 has better sound design with weapons than GTA 5 does. The guns sound more punchy in this game, especially the pistols like the Desert Eagle. It has a nice loud pop to it. The shotguns sound much better in my opinion. And each of the assault rifles have their own unique and specific sound. The AK-47 has a little bit more of a high-pitched sound effect, whereas the M4 has a nice deeper and more bassy sound to it. So much so that you can instantly tell which gun is shooting at you in a gunfight based on sound alone. And in fact, that's not just the case with the assault rifles. You can tell which gun someone is using based on just the sound for every gun in the game. Something that you can't really do a whole lot in GTA 5. Moving on to the next game, Max Payne 3. This one's going to be interesting because Max Payne 3 is often regarded as one of the best third-person shooters of all time, and you'll see exactly why that is after we're done with the analysis here. Max Payne 3 gun mechanics are very good, albeit more simple than GTA 4's with the insane reticle bloom. You don't really have to burst fire as much in Max Payne. There is still some reticle bloom though, don't get me wrong, just not to the amount that GTA 4 has. What Max Payne 3 does is actually combine that small amount of bloom with some recoil this time on the guns, but it's not an overbearing amount of recoil. It's rather a little shake when the weapon is fired, but it is enough to throw off your aim a tad while not being extremely annoying. The hit feedback, while not as exaggerated as GTA 4's, it still is much better than GTA 5's by a long shot. Landing shots feels really satisfying in Max Payne 3. The part where Max Payne 3 really stands out the most though is definitely the movement. This game has some of the best movement out of any third-person shooter that I've ever played. Just at a base level of moving the character around, you can jog in every single direction while the crosshair is still on your screen, ready to hip fire at a moment's notice. Then it nicely transitions to the ADS animation so it feels like your character isn't ever stuck in an animation of some kind. When you take out your pistol while holding a rifle, you don't just put the rifle back in your ass randomly. You switch to carrying the rifle with one hand and the pistol in the other hand with a smooth animation. The whole diving in slow motion system feels great and fun to interact with, The movement is just by far the thing that makes Max Payne 3 one of the best feeling third-person shooters out there. The sound design of the guns also isn't bad. I still think it's better than GTA 5's by a long shot. So Max Payne 3 is at worst average in its weakest categories, but it excels in almost all of them. Something that you can't really say for the other Rockstar games when it comes to gunplay. And that's exactly why it still feels like the best gunplay Rockstar has ever implemented in any of their games. I do want to talk about RDR2 though in this video, as that's their most recent game. How does that stack up with these aspects? Well, mechanically, I find RDR2 to have some very annoying mechanics, honestly. It has that standard bloom system where the reticle has to shrink to get the full accuracy. It is a bit hard to compare this system to something like GTA 4, for instance, since we are talking about a game with bolt-action rifles and semi-auto weapons compared to fully automatic weapons of the Grand Theft Auto games. But the part that's annoying about RDR2's gunplay is that when you get shot at, it has this flinch mechanic that throws off your aim for a couple seconds and makes your screen shake and ultimately makes it impossible to hit a shot without using Deadeye. I just find this mechanic to be a bit overdone, a bit too powerful. If it was toned down a bit, it wouldn't be as annoying, but in the current state, it is a detriment to the gunplay in my opinion. The hit feedback of RDR2 though is phenomenal. In fact, I would say it's the most brutal combat in any Rockstar game yet. It's really gory, it's graphic. You can shoot someone in the neck and watch the blood just shoot out of their jugular vein as they bleed out. That's how graphic it is. Shotguns can blow limbs and heads off. It's a very detailed system in place for RDR2. It's what I feel should be the gold standard for hit feedback in Rockstar games going forward. The movement of RDR2 though, and we'll say Red Dead Online as well, is pretty slow. Now if we're talking just RDR2, then yes, it is very, very slow. The animations take forever, the character movement is even slower than GTA 5 at times in third person. Red Dead Online did get an update that addressed this issue where they sped up some of the animations, and after that update, the game did feel a whole lot better. The third person movement became much better than GTA 5's at that point in third person. It felt like you had much more directional control over the character. And the difference between third person and first person movement shrunk a bit after that update. However, it's still not as good as Max Payne 3's movement in my opinion. Sound design though, they really have stepped it up with RDR2 compared to their previous games. The guns sound great in RDR2. They have a nice echo to them. That was something that was missing from pretty much every other Rockstar game, was that echo when you fire a gun in like an open field, for instance. The gun sounds actually have depth to them in this game. They have distinct rechamber sounds with the repeaters and rifles after every shot. I don't get the sense that the guns sound like toys in RDR2. They actually sound like firearms for the most part. So I don't really have any issues with the sound design of RDR2 when it comes to the weapons. Now, after analyzing all of those games, where should GTA 6 set itself when it comes to gunplay? Well, mechanically speaking, it should be somewhere between the current Red Dead Online and Max Payne 3. If they are going to add the flinch mechanic back, it should be toned down a bit from Red Dead, or perhaps they just add the flinch mechanic only when you're sniping and you get shot at by any other gun, for instance. I don't care what anyone says, snipers in GTA 5 are overpowered as hell when it comes to any combat past the lock-on range. So some mechanics that balance that out will be needed, especially if the leaks that say the RDR2 weapon system of only carrying 2 types of long weapons will be back. If they don't do anything about this, then everyone is just going to be running sniper rifles because they're going to be overpowered. For hit feedback, I mean, if they just ported over the RDR2 system exactly as it is right now, it would be perfect. I don't know if they want the game to be as gory as RDR2, because I feel like that level of gore kind of fits a Red Dead game more than a GTA game. But even if they took out some of the gore aspects, that game would still have great feedback. It would essentially be just a more detailed version of GTA 4's at that point. For movement, I don't think they're going to want the slow motion diving and all that in a GTA game. That's kind of just an element of the Max Payne games. Base RDR2 is just too slow for a GTA game, whereas the current Red Dead Online sped up animations and movement would be a better fit for a GTA game. However, I think the first person movement, strafe speed, needs to be toned down a lot, especially with sniper rifles. Sniper dancing should not be a mechanic in GTA 6. Strafing speed in first person should really just be slowed down across the board. Even without snipers, it's super fast and jarring how fast you move. And for sound design, considering this is going to be a 2026 game, I only expect the sound design to be up to a 2026 standard. And since RDR2's was fine in 2018, I would only expect it to be as good as RDR2's, if not better than that. So I don't really have much to say on that front. I think they're going to do just fine. It's certainly going to be better than GTA 5's sound design when it comes to the guns. But let me know what the ideal gunplay for GTA 6 would look like for you down in the comments. Any gameplay that I used in this video that wasn't my own gameplay, I will have links to their channels down in the description. And if you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like, as well as subscribe to my channel for more GTA Online and GTA 6 content. I also want to give a huge shout out to all of my channel members for your support. If you'd like to become a member for some exclusive perks, you can either use the join button or the link that's down in the description. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.